Thank you for the kind introduction. President and Mrs. Cornwell, Dean Brown, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty and staff, family and friends, and most importantly, members of the Rollins College Hamilton Holt graduating class of 2018, it is an honor to be here with you on this most special of occasions. To reintroduce myself, my name is Stephanie Murphy, and since January 2017, I've represented Seminole County and parts of Orange County in the United States House of Representatives, one of our nation's least popular institutions. Yes, please hold your applause. Before my election to Congress, I was an instructor in the Rollins College Department of Business and taught several cross-listed evening classes in the Holt School. According to one student review of my teaching performance, enshrined for eternity on ratemyprofessors.com, she takes off points for not attending class. She's nice and smart, though, and tries to help the student understand how finance works. Make sure you stay up on your reading because she gives pop quizzes the next day for extra credit. And according to another student review, Stephanie always came to class in extremely cute outfits, which was fun. Also, it was baller that she always rolled in texting on 2 iPhones at once. I want to be that boss one day. She actually managed to teach me Excel, which is a daunting task for anyone, since I have the attention span of a barbecue rib when it comes to anything math-based. High praise indeed. If this were a concert, I'd drop the mic and strut off stage. In all seriousness, it's wonderful to be back on campus, and it's even more wonderful to be invited to speak to this outstanding group of graduates, nearly 300 strong. For you, today represents the culmination of one journey and the commencement of a new journey. And let me begin with a simple expression of admiration. I've read some of your bios and backgrounds, and I stand in awe of what you have accomplished, both as individuals and collectively as a class. Your ages range from 21 to 67, and most of you have followed a less than conventional or linear path to where you are today. You've had full-time jobs, attending class at night or on weekends, giving up precious time with loved ones or even just time for yourself. Many of you are about to become the first person in your family to ever graduate from college, having navigated those financial aid forms and class registration without much guidance. Some of you are parents striving to balance family, work, and school, and some days I'm sure it felt less like balance than just hanging on. You've had long nights finishing homework after long days of work and caring for loved ones. You've figured out how to schedule group work with others just as busy as you are. You've raced from work, cursing I-4 traffic and Rollins parking, to slide into class late, hoping the instructor didn't see you. But I want you to know, I saw you, and I see you today. I know you confronted and conquered great challenges. You faced hardships and fought hard to surmount them. You may have stumbled or were knocked down in earlier parts of your life, but rather than conceding defeat, you got back up, you dusted yourself off, and you kept going. You defied expectations. You've demolished stereotypes, and you've silenced skeptics. And you refused to make excuses. You rose above those difficult personal circumstances and social conditions, and you've become role models in your communities, serving as positive examples for younger generations. You understand the hard truth that the world owes you nothing. You earned what you have, including this terrific Rollins education. And you may have thought about giving up along the way, but you never did. And as a result, today you've received your richly deserved award, and it's a reward that no one can take away from you. The American author James Salter wrote in his memoir that he liked men and women who have known the best and the worst, whose lives have been anything but a smooth trip, who have been battered by storms. And I confess that I do too. In part, this is because I personally empathize with your struggle to overcome adversity. In your journeys, I see my family's journey. In your stories, I can trace the narrative arc of my own story. And let me warn you, we've arrived at the point in the speech where I'll talk about myself. Because asking a member of Congress not to talk about themselves is a little like asking us to hold our breaths for 2 minutes, and there's a real chance that we could pass out and possibly perish. And since I know I stand between you and your degrees, I'll try to avoid that disruption. Don't let my Irish last name fool you. My maiden name is Dang, and I'm an immigrant and a refugee from Vietnam. In the late 70s, the Vietnam War ended and a communist government took power. My brother was just 8 years old, and I was a baby. And my parents really worried about our futures. They didn't want their children to grow up under an oppressive government that didn't respect human rights. They wanted us to live in a place where we would be safe, where we would have freedom and dignity, and where we would have the opportunity for a better life. And they didn't think any of that was possible in Vietnam. And so we left Vietnam in a small boat in the dead of night, along with several other families. And our boat ran out of fuel in the middle of the South China Sea. We were just simply adrift. And I'm sure that the adults on that boat thought the end might be near. Fate, however, had a different plan for us. Thanks to grace or good fortune, a US Navy ship patrolling in the area happened to find our boat. And the sailors on board, showing compassion for desperate strangers, gave us the fuel and food we needed to reach a Malaysian refugee camp. And this was my introduction to America's uniquely wonderful combination of power and generosity. It's also the moment that made the rest of my life possible. After several months at a refugee camp, a Lutheran church sponsored my family's passage to the United States, where we settled in Virginia and became proud American citizens. Although my parents, my brother, and I were eternally grateful to be living in this country, our life here was far from easy, especially for my parents. My dad used to say that he arrived in America with nothing but his 2 bare hands. And we had very little money, and my parents didn't speak English, and they worked long hours at physically demanding jobs, day and night, in order just to make ends meet and to provide a better life for my brother and I. And because of my parents' selfless sacrifice, along with the work ethic that I had inherited from them, I was able to attend a good college and graduate school, and to get gratifying jobs in the private sector, to work for the Department of Defense after 9/11, and to teach here at Rollins, and to become the first Vietnamese American woman to serve in Congress. At every stage in my life, especially when I ran for elected office, there were people who doubted me because of my background, my race, or my gender, all things I couldn't change about myself. I'm sure you know exactly how it might feel to be underestimated like this. And I confess that on occasion, those doubts expressed by others caused me to question my abilities, to lose confidence, and to feel insecure. At the same time, at every stage of my life, there were family members and friends who loved me, who lifted me up when my spirits were down, who fought for me, who fortified me, and who never, ever let me quit. If I've amounted to anything, it is because of them. I know each of you has people in your life like this, and they're sitting here with us today, and I bet many of them are beaming with pride and trying their best not to cry. Let me put it plainly. Our stories may differ in their specific details, but the broad outlines are the same. They are tales of tenacity, of journeys both physical and emotional, of taking the non-traditional path, of perseverance and persistence, of confronting challenges, of fighting ferociously, and of working hard to better yourself. And just as I see something of myself in each of you, I hope you see something of yourself in me. We all get this amazing opportunity to live in a land where we're free, where we have human dignity, and with hard work, there are no bounds for what you can achieve. Let me close by saying a few words to guide you as you complete this voyage and prepare to set sail again. And I do it with modesty for a couple of reasons. For starters, I appreciate that it's far easier to dispense advice than actually to follow it. And in addition, I recognize that for the most part, you're not graduates in your early 20s, leaving behind the comfortable confines of college and venturing out into the so-called real world for the first time. Most of you have inhabited the real world for quite a while now. You know that it can fill your heart with joy, but you also know it has the potential to break your heart. and you have no illusions about it. With those caveats, I offer this counsel. And perhaps every generation has felt the same way, but there's something intensely unsettling about the current climate in our country, and indeed around the world. Feels like we're living in a period of profound complexity, confusion, and change. And as a result, it's easy for even the most poised among us to feel a bit unmoored, like a small ship in stormy seas. And amid such turbulence, it's only natural for you to seek out ways to help you maintain your equilibrium and to keep you on a true course towards your next destination. And my advice is this: as you confront these external challenges, look inward. Find stability and strength in your internal values and qualities. The good news is that the values and qualities that will matter the most going forward are the very same character traits that you have already displayed in going back to college, successfully completing your coursework, and graduating today. So first, I hope you have the courage to try, the courage to act, and yes, the courage to fail. Be the proverbial man or woman in their arena that Teddy Roosevelt so admired, the one whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood, the one who strives valiantly and who sometimes comes up short, the one who may win or lose, but whose place will never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Second, be determined and diligent. Recognize the possibility that others may have greater natural abilities or natural advantages than you. But commit yourself to the principle that when it comes to pursuing the professional and personal goals you have set for yourself, nobody else will want it more than you, and nobody else will work harder for it than you. And finally, choose to live a life of passion and purpose. Life is for service, whatever form that service may take. Dedicate yourself to helping others. And do this to honor the special people who helped you. And do it because, as my own life has taught me, and as your own lives have likely taught you, serving others is the single best way to find personal happiness and fulfillment. It was Dr. King who said that life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? If you can answer that question to your own satisfaction, you are leading a good life in the most meaningful sense of the term. If you have the courage to try, if you're determined and diligent, and if you dedicate yourself to serving others, you can navigate the roughest seas and weather any storm. So to you, the class of 2018, I congratulate you, I commend you, and I wish you the very best. Keep making us proud, as I know you will. Thank you.